The O'Reilly Factor, the #1 cable news show for 15 years and counting.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly. In the Weekdays at Bernie segment tonight, it is my opinion that the national press not telling the truth about both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Last November, I said this: Mrs. Clinton will secure the Democratic nomination for the presidency because voters know not everybody's perfect and enough far left-leaning Americans like her so that she'll be the nominee. Now, that has turned out to be true. Hillary Clinton is going to get the nomination unless she's indicted by the Justice Department. And my contention is that the national press knew back in November that Bernie Sanders had absolutely no chance. The fix was in. The establishment Democrats were for Mrs. Clinton, and she had a machine. Joining us now from Miami, the purveyor, BernardGoldberg.com, Mr. Goldberg. So I think it's all about ratings, all about a horse race, trying to establish that, Sanders may have a chance here when they all knew he had zero chance. Am I wrong?
Well, as charming as you are, I don't know if you're wrong, but you leave me baffled sometimes. Now, you said in the lead-in that last November they knew he didn't have a chance.
Right.
Now, reporters are supposed to report what's going on at the time.
Right.
And not Miss Cleo, the fortune teller, making
I'm not talking
predictions
about
the
reporters.
future.
I'm talking about more people like me, the analysts and things like that, the Sunday shows, the cable news shows. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, do they want a horse race? Yes, they always do.
Always
That's
do.
true.
Right.
But I think, with all due respect, Your Highness, I think that we should also be concerned about when the media is unfair, not just to the candidates, but to the American people. When cable news runs Donald Trump's rallies and speeches live and virtually unaltered, they come off
That's a
as
campaign
infomercials
commercial
for Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that he doesn't even have to pay for. Now, we all know why that happens. Leslie Moonves, who you know, who runs CBS, said, and this is a quote, "All this coverage of Donald Trump may not be good for America, but it's damn good for CBS."
Right.
Look, I get it. I'm a capitalist. I want news organizations to make lots and lots of money. I'm all for ratings. But when you're in the news business, you have other obligations, too. Donald Trump is no longer the host of The Apprentice. He's running for President of the United States of America. Infomercials and soft interviews by some people on television don't do the American people any good.
I agree 100%, but that's a different issue. But for the record, I want to say this. We don't do that here in the Factor. In this hour, 8 to 9 Eastern Time, you're not going to see any infomercials. We won't even allow candidates to call in. We're one of the few programs that don't. Chris Wallace doesn't do it on the CBS, on the Fox News Sunday show. All right? All the rest, let them call in. We're not going to do that because there's a big difference between a call-in when you're in your jammies and you have 5 people in a room telling you what to say and when you're on like you are right now. So we're not going to do that.
Right.
And I agree with you that there's been far too much of let's put Donald Trump on to get ratings. Okay. But let's go back to my original premise. The national press now, after the New York primary, has to know that Donald Trump, 90% is in. I'd say 90%. Okay? I said flat out that he's in, but you know me, I'm a little over the top sometimes, even though I'm always right. But I say 90%. They have to know. All right? That was a week ago, 10 days ago now. But the national press will never say that because they don't want the American people to know the truth. They want to count the delegates and maybe this will happen and maybe that will happen when we all know it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, and this being an opinion show, you have every right to make predictions, and when they turn out to be true, you can brag about it. You know, that's
Which
that's fair
I
enough.
rarely do because I'm a humble man.
Yeah, right. Okay, we'll let that go.
You heard that right.
But to the extent that they're looking for confrontation in a horse race, yeah.
But that's not right.
Television news.
You got to analyze it the way it is. You mean, Trump,
you're talking about the opinion.
Yeah,
shows.
yeah. I mean, look, Trump may very well lose Indiana on Tuesday. All right, he could lose. Pence, the governor of the state, popular governor, endorsed Cruz today. Cruz is waging a very energetic campaign, and it's going to be a very close race, I think, downstate versus upstate. But Trump could lose. But that doesn't alter the fact that he's going to go into California And if he does any indecent at all, he's got it.
Yeah, Fox has a good motto that I favor, and that is, we report, you decide. So I don't think it would be so terrible if even opinion shows, you know, backed off the opinion to some extent and said, look, this is what's happening, this is how it looks, and let's see what unfolds next week.
Yeah, that's fine. But
I'm just not as worked up over this as you are.
Because I know what's happening here, and I know that folks aren't being told the truth on many different levels about many different things, and it offends me. Last word.
Okay, and one of the things you're unhappy about is that they treat Donald Trump unfairly by calling him names. You're right about that. I also think in some cases they treat him with kid gloves, and I'm concerned about both.
So
I hope you are too.
I absolutely am. I think that the interviews against any political candidate should be as tough as you can make them, and that's what we do here.
Great.
That's what we do.
Great.
Bernie Goldberg, everybody.